Hello, everybody. Eric Smith here with the weekly wrap up for August 17th through the 23rd. Let's jump right in and let's see. On the channel on Monday, you know what? I'm going to have to grab this just to make sure I know what the hell I'm talking about. On Monday, yes, I posted a review for the book Blood on Satan's Claw, or The Devil's Skin, which is a novelization of the classic folk horror movie from England from the 70s. And the book is written by the person who wrote the screenplay. On Friday, a review for Camp Damascus by Chuck Tingle, his first book from Tor Nightfire, the first Chuck Tingle that I have read. Please check out both of those reviews if you haven't already. On Wednesday was a reading remembrances for the books I read in January of 2008. And that's basically what happened on my channel. Work-wise, normal work week. I think this is normal at this point. Things going on. Lots of people coming into my little work area to try to figure certain things out. But nothing major, nothing wild happened. So it was just work. And I took off a little early on Friday to go out and, well, get rid of a headache, get some sleep. You know how it is. Yeah, so that was my work week. Let's just get to the part that everybody is here for. My obsession, my problem, all the stuff haven't shown on my channel before. Now I'm going to start with something from a couple of weeks ago that I forgot to show. Because I apparently hate myself and don't have enough to do with my time, I decided to try a new hobby. So I picked up one of these, Learn to Crochet. And Woobles, on their website, they have this beautiful Halloween set. And the box is shaped like a haunted house, and then when you open it up, there's all these little boxes inside. Some of them you get, once you take out what's in them, you can make them into jack-o'-lanterns, and I believe there's tombstones. But it includes, I can never remember exactly, but I think it's a werewolf, a vampire, a mummy, and a witch. And there's glow-in-the-dark yarn. There's little things to crochet, like a roll of toilet paper, a bat, a moon, a crescent moon, maybe something else. And there's a trick-or-treat bag, and there's a little tin to keep your bits and bobs in. But that's kind of expensive, so I thought I would go to Walmart and just pick up one of the regular priced sets and see if I can actually crochet. If I like it, if I can do it, before I spend a bunch of money on the really cool Halloween stuff. Because, you know, I've got plenty of time for another thing to do. We'll see. Then I picked up a new game. I'm saving the books, as always. Picked up a new game. And I've already played it. And I very, very much enjoyed it. This is Horrified Dungeons and Dragons. This is the 5th version of Horrified to come out. And it's easily my second favorite. Could become my first favorite. Horrified is a cooperative game. The first version was Universal Monsters, then American Monsters, which was Cryptids, then Greek Monsters, which I was not a fan of. I've already gotten rid of it. Monsters of the World, which has Cthulhu and Yeti and a Chinese hopping vampire and something else. Not a huge fan of that one. And now this one, which I am a big fan of already. As I said, it's a cooperative game. You pick the monsters that you're going to... Please ignore that. If you even heard it. Pick the monsters that you're going to fight. Depending on the level of difficulty you want, you can pick 2 monsters or 3 monsters. Go crazy and pick 4. Each monster has a completely different way for you to defeat it. You're moving around the board, you're picking up items, you're doing the things you need to defeat each monster. You win the game if you defeat all the monsters. You lose in a couple of ways that we don't need to go into. But everybody has a character that they are. You have, say, 4 actions, including each character has its own specific special action. What I like about this is each character has 4 actions straight up. Everybody's special action is essentially the same, which is rolling a 20-sided die. And then on the character card, it tells you if you rolled a 1, and this is the same for everybody, no effect. Because in Dungeons & Dragons, 1 is a critical failure. And then it might be 2 through 5, you get this. 6 through, I think it's 15, you get this. 16 through 19, you get this. And 20, obviously going to be the best critical hit. You get this, and you draw a perk card, which perk cards are helpful. Each character, that list is completely different. And then the monsters you fight, there's rolling of the 20-sided die for the monsters and things. I like that crazy random element that has been added. It's a lot of fun. The figures for the monsters are nice. You got a beholder, a mimic, a red dragon, and a displacer beast. We played, I can't quite stretch my fingers enough. And we played against the beholder and the displacer beast. We were doing very well. Beat the displacer beast, and then all of a sudden we started getting our asses kicked by the beholder, but we did manage to win. Anyway, Horrified Dungeons & Dragons, really, really like this game. And I just picked it up. Now, this is what everybody wants to see, I think, the books. So, I sort of have them mixed together, and I want to do this first. I made a trip to Half Price Books and picked up some stuff. So let's start with those. The Academy by Bentley Little. Slowly building my Bentley Little collection, and I really need to get all of my Bentley Little books together in one spot so I can keep better track of what I have. I was not sure if I had this, but reading the back cover copy while I was at the store, I said to myself, this does not sound familiar at all, so I'm pretty sure I don't have it. But The Academy by Bentley Little. And then something a little different, for my channel anyway, The Gutter and the Grave by Ed McBain, a hard case crime book. I love Ed McBain's 87th Precinct novels, and I don't know that I've read anything else, anything other than his 87th Precinct novels. So, saw this on the shelf, figured I'd grab it and give it a try. I generally like the hard case crime stuff. I generally like Ed McBain. Let's see how this one is. Then, all right, we'll skip those two for a second. This was new at Half Price Books, but it's still discounted, not half price. This is paperback edition of Horror Movie by Paul Tremblay, and it's got nice decorative edges. I haven't read a lot of Paul Tremblay, only 2 books, and I absolutely loved The Cabin at the End of the World. I thought that book was absolutely fantastic. And then the zombie virus one, rabies virus, I enjoyed well enough. But I loved Cabin at the End of the World much, much more than the Coyote song? No, that's something else. I swear it has, well, let's just take a gander. I'm sure it lists his Survivor song. That's what it is. Excuse me. So, and this is a cursed film book, and it has bits of screenplay in it, mixing up. I hear it's a very odd, a non-linear story. So, looking forward to that one. I always say that. Obviously, I'm looking forward to all of these. All right, now I was very excited about these 2 books, and this is going to come out before my reading remembrances. So Wednesdays, if you watch this the day it comes out, or within a few days of it coming out, Wednesdays, Reading Remembrances, I mentioned Valancourt books, and I say in that video, if you go back to my weekly update, I'll talk more about Valancourt. I'm creating a time loop. But I found 2 books by Michael McDowell that are both published by Valancourt. We have Katie. It's a very interesting cover. I like this cover a lot. Just the sort of, duotone, but oh shit, all of a sudden there's blood. Very cool cover. And then this has a Mike Mignola cover, creator of Hellboy. This is Cold Moon Over Babylon, with that Mike Mignola cover. I don't know that I've ever read Michael McDowell, and I know he's incredibly popular. I have another one of his that I think might be a Valancourt edition. I don't remember what it is, but he's got a lot of stuff, very popular. Want to pick it up, but it was fun to find these 2 at half-price books. And that is everything that I picked up there. Now we're going to get to the Amazon stuff. And let's start with something I completely forgot that I had ordered. This book, it is the final book in a series, the final published book in a series. I had ordered it once from Amazon, and I have to order it from a third-hand place because it's out of print. I had ordered it some time ago. It never arrived. It got lost in transit. I got refunded and everything, no problem there. But then I just would forget about it. But whenever I would look at my cart, there's stuff that I've taken out of my cart, and sort of it's if you scroll down to the items in your cart, then you'll get to items that have been in your cart, save for later, I think is what you would hit. And so I just happened to be looking at my cart. I was like, let's try to order that again. Anyway, this is Children of Hope by David Feintuck. It is the 7th book in the Seafort saga. And I say the last published book because apparently David Feintuck wrote an 8th book. He died before it was published. There was allegedly talk that it would eventually be published posthumously, but it seems like it is never going to see the light of day. But I love this series. It's been a long time. I loved it when I first read it, and it's been quite a while. It's a series that I would like to reread. It's military-ish science fiction. I don't know if hardcore military sci-fi people would consider it that. It does, the first book does involve the Space Navy, but there's also huge religious themes, and aliens and all sorts of stuff, political intrigue. Anyway, very excited to finally have a copy of this. And then this book, I didn't talk about what I read during the week and what I'm currently reading. So what I was, let's see, reach, leaning out of frame. I don't think I'd finished this by the last week's reading, or what do I call this? Weekly wrap up. So I finished the Book of Lists Horror, and then I read The Ignored by Bentley Little. I really dig that cover. So I read that, and now I'm currently reading. Not sure what I think about this so far, but I'm currently reading a book that I just got in the mail from Amazon. This is a new copy, even though it's an old book. Magic by William Goldman. I'm a William Goldman fan. I love The Princess Bride. I loved Marathon Man. And I liked Heat well enough. Brothers, which is the sequel to Marathon Man. And Control, which is a completely wild book. This is a classic. It's made into a movie with Anthony Hopkins. It's the writing style's very weird. And I think if you know not the story, but I guess the twist. And I think if you know the twist ahead of time, sometimes that doesn't matter. Like in Psycho, it didn't really matter that I knew what the twist was because the story was so interesting, the writing, the characters, everything going on was so interesting, so compelling. It didn't matter that I knew what the big twist was. In this, I don't know that that's the case. I think knowing ahead of time what the twist is completely changes the context of a lot of what's going on. I'll probably finish it, and you'll get my review, so I'll go into all that later. But anyway, that's what I'm currently reading is Magic by William Goldman. Then, this book just came out this past Tuesday, as of this recording. Very excited for this. This is Lucky Day by Chuck Tingle. I love that cover. This is another Tor Nightfire book, his third from Tor Nightfire. I just recently read his first from Tor Nightfire, Camp Damascus. The review just went up as of this recording. And so definitely looking forward to getting to this one. But he has another one from Tor Nightfire that I'll read first because that's just the way I am. I'm a weird person and read things in chronological order, even though the books have nothing to do with each other. But Lucky Day by Chuck Tingle. And then Sadie Hartman, Mother Horror, has a new book out. And her first book was, let's see if this will actually tell me. It's 101 books to read, horror books to read before you're murdered. It's a very fun book, interesting layout. She had a lot of symbology. So there was like a legend that this symbol means killer animals. This symbol means possession. This symbol means this, etc., etc. So then as you're going through it, looking at the book, oh, these three symbols gives me an idea. These things are in this book. This, I don't see a bunch of symbols. Anyway, this is called Feral and Hysterical, Mother Horror's Ultimate Reading Guide to Dark and Disturbing Fiction by Women. I really dig that cover, and again, looking forward to reading this. I almost always enjoy, it depends on how it's written, but these sorts of book lists to see, one, what people think of the things that I've read. If I enjoyed it, are other people enjoying it? If I didn't, are they not? What's their opinion of something? Do we have differing opinions? But also, and mainly, because there may be things there that I wasn't aware of, and I can add them to my ever-growing list of books to buy and hopefully read someday. Feral and Hysterical, Sadie Hartman. And finally, this is the big one. This just came out on Tuesday. I pre-ordered it a week before it came out and actually got a $2.41 refund because of Amazon's price guarantee. So whatever price you pre-order it at, for those of you who don't know, whatever price you pre-order at, you will never pay more than that price. So if the price goes up before it comes out, you're still going to pay whatever it was when you pre-ordered it. If it goes down, you're going to get the cheaper price. It apparently dropped in just a few days. This is the biggie. This has... Don't you love a video where someone just looks at something and counts? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36 authors, 3 dozen. I've been telling people 2 dozen. It's a huge honking book. I love this cover. I love the feel of the cover. It to me, this is throwback cover. I don't know. Has anybody guessed what it is yet? There was a huge worldwide, at least 2 countries, possibly 3. I mean, possibly more. I only know about the United States and the United Kingdom on release date, just doing big events, signings and stuff. This is The End of the World as We Know It New Tales of Stephen King's The Stand. This is edited by Christopher Golden and Brian Keene. Introduction by Stephen King. You can see all that on the cover. I love the way this looks. I love the feel. It's got that sort of rough feel. It's that matte finish. And this has... I already counted them all. Should I tell you everybody who's in here? Wayne Brady and Maurice Broaddus writing together. Poppy Z. Bright, Summer Cannon, C. Robert Cargill, Nat Cassidy, V. Castro, Richard Chismar, S.A. Cosby, Tanana, I always mispronounce her name and I apologize, Tananarive Dew, and Stephen Barnes, writing together. Meg Gardner, Gabino Iglesias, Jonathan Jans, Alma Katsu, Caroline Kepnes, Michael Corrida, Sarah Langan, Joe R. Lansdale, Tim Levin, Josh Mallerman, Ronald Melfi. I apologize. It's either Usman or Usman or something completely different. T. Malik, Usman T. Malik. Premi Muhammad, Cynthia Paleo, Haley Piper, David J. Scow, I believe that's how you say his name, Alex Segura, Brian Smith, Paul Tremblay, Catherine M. Valenti, Bev Vincent, Catriona Ward, Chuck Wendig, Wrath James White, and Rio Yours. Whew. There's all those names. So, as it says, New Tales of Stephen King's The Stand. I believe there are... Actually, let's look and see if the table of contents will tell me. I'm not 100% sure. I know there are stories that take place, I believe, before the events of the novel The Stand. I believe the majority take place during the events of The Stand, and then there are stories that take place after the events of the novel. But don't take my word for that. This has... part 1 is Down with the Sickness, which seems to have the most stories. Part 2 is The Long Walk, which is the second most stories. Part 3, Life Was Such a Wheel. And then there are 2 stories in Part 4, Other Worlds Than These. So I would guess those 2 are the ones that take place after the events, or perhaps far in the future. I don't know. But this is a huge, huge honking book. So I have to read a bunch of stuff. Get a backlog of book reviews. So I'm going to be reading lots of novellas for a short time before I can dive into this. And this is going to be part of, I believe, a book bundle. So that is what I've got. I'm waiting on a book that's supposed to arrive tomorrow. I wish it would have arrived sooner. It's called Tick Town. I don't recall the author's name. My apologies. This was reviewed by Kaylee Dobbs at Happy Goat Horror, and she made it a point to tell me about it because she knows that my favorite subgenre of horror is killer animals, and Tick Town is about giant killer ticks. And I'm very excited. As soon as I finish reading Magic, possibly before, depending on my mood, I'm reading Tick Town. It's supposed to arrive. As I'm recording this, it's supposed to arrive tomorrow. If you're watching this the day that this video drops, it's supposed to arrive today. So that's everything that my sickness has caused me to grab like a magpie. Haven't really watched anything. Just stuff on YouTube. Nothing anybody cares about. And let's see. The next work week, at the end of the week, losing one of my people. They are moving to QC, quality control. So we're going to be having pizza. I buy pizza for my folks when they leave. Maybe if I bought it for them before they left, they wouldn't leave. I'll have to think about that. And we have a 3-day weekend coming up. Maybe that's when I'll do some crocheting. But yes, Labor Day is coming up. So next weekend, a 3-day weekend. Then it's a couple of months before the next holiday. And then, which is Thanksgiving, I'm looking forward to Christmas week because we're only working 2 days that week. We're off on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday for the week of Christmas. And that will be nice. 5-day weekend. Um, yeah, that is about it. I don't think I forgot anything this week. Trying to think if there's anything else. And there isn't. So that's it. Question as always, when I have all this stuff, what are you interested in reading, if anything, from all of the stuff I picked up? Have you read any of it before? Do you play board games? I earlier in the channel's history, I talked about tabletop games a little bit more. Now it's basically in a weekly wrap up. I'll show you what I bought. So does something like Horrified interest you? I know there are people that just have absolutely no interest in playing tabletop games. That's probably my third thing after books and comic books, and then tabletop games. But what about you? Are you a tabletop fan? Are you? And when I say tabletop, that's anything from Dungeons and Dragons, role playing games of that sort, Magic the Gathering, card games of that sort, Warhammer, and miniatures games of that sort, or things like Horrified, or Catan is like the big gateway game, or Ticket to Ride, and I suppose technically you could go old school, family friendly, Monopoly and that sort of thing. Obviously, as I said, that's my number 3 thing. I've got stacks here. I don't even have room on the shelves anymore. Deck building is my favorite mechanism, which is not like Magic the Gathering is not a deck building game. There's so many mechanics. I love so many different types of games. I love getting horror themed games and comic book themed games. But what about you? What are your thoughts on games? And we're leaving video games off the table, pun intended. So that's it. That's all I have for you this week. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you have any comments, questions, corrections, please put those in the comments below. Comments are open for spoilers. Just post a spoiler warning. We try to be polite here on my channel. Please like, share, and subscribe. All the usual YouTube stuff. If you'd care to follow me on other social media, I'll have links for my Instagram and Blue Sky in the description below. That is all I have for you this week. So until next week, read more books.